Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We are following breaking news from last night. One man is dead after a shooting in South Fargo. Police responded to reports of gunshots in the area of 44th Street South and 12th Avenue around 10:30. When they arrived, officers found a man with an apparent gunshot wound. Police say he was taken to a local hospital and later pronounced dead. Currently, no suspects are in custody. If you have any information on this incident, you are urged to contact the Fargo Police Department. Officials are asking for your help in finding a person responsible for a shooting in Bemidji. They say that the person is considered armed and dangerous. Around 4 a.m., officials responded to Ridgeway Avenue for a report of a gunshot. When officers arrived, they found a 19-year-old man who had been shot multiple times. He was taken to Sanford Hospital, where he was treated and released. Officials say he refused to give any information related to the shooting. Detectives believe the shooting was the result of a verbal fight. Officials say the suspect arrived at Ridgeway Apartments in what appears to be a gold or silver Cadillac four-door sedan. The suspect was wearing a tan plaid short-sleeve shirt. He was wearing black shorts and a red and black baseball cap. A second man was also seen wearing a red sweatshirt before the shooting. Officials say if you have any information, to call the Crime Stoppers of Minnesota. That number is 1-800-222-TIPS. Several sources are also reporting that Thomas Denny Sanford of South Dakota's richest man and biggest philanthropist was also investigated for the possible possession of child pornography. In a statement from Marty Jackley, who is representing Sanford, he says, although we know very little about the state or federal inquiry related to Mr. Sanford, we do know these authorities responsible for investigating these allegations obviously did not find information or evidence that supported or resulted in any criminal charges. This is a developing story. Today is feeling a bit cooler and things are staying quiet for now. Our First Alert meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us with a first look at your forecast. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Things definitely quiet today. High pressure has moved in. Plenty of sunshine across the area, but the clear skies overnight helped our temperatures cool. Look at this, into the 40s for quite a few locations. The light winds also helped those temperatures cool into those 40s. Look at some of these temperatures, 47 in Fargo, 49 Grand Forks, down to around 46 for our friends in Fosston, 41 in Langdon. I bet you some backyard thermometers up in the Langdon and Rolla areas could have dipped into the upper 30s in the overnight hours last night. So things are clear for us. High pressure is large and in charge, and I do expect it to stay that way if you do have any of those weekend or some Saturday evening plans here in the late summer. Look at these temperatures out the door. 70 in Bemidji, 70 Detroit Lakes, 76 in Fargo as one of the more mild spots at this hour, 75 for our friends in Grand Forks. Winds are calm right now, but some winds do have a kind of a southerly direction to them, so we will see some warming temperatures, or I guess not as cold temperatures in the overnight hours tonight. Not as cold as we saw, of course, this morning, but still will be a fairly comfortable night for us as we go out and about on this Saturday. We see those temperatures cooling through the 60s here in the Fargo area. Sunset at 8:11 p.m. Light winds for us this Saturday evening as well, and of course, seeing clear skies for our friends in Grand Forks as well. Again, cooling into the 50s by midnight tonight. So, Katie, may need a light jacket for some folks if they are planning to stay outside for a prolonged period of time this Saturday evening outdoors, especially after sunset tonight.
All right. Thank you very much, Nathan. And while we have calmer weather ahead of us, we've had a stretch of storms wreaking havoc on the valley since this summer. Lakes country being one of the hardest hit, with the tornadoes touching down. These storms tore apart a brand new RV park. Valley News Team's Courtney Lockey was back out there today to see how cleanup is coming along.
Dwayne Morey and his family of 4 sought out a new adventure this summer.
We thought, hey, this is time for us to sink our feet in and try some of this lake life.
Morey brought his brand new camper to the Lakeside RV Park in Ottertail County, saying it seemed like a safe way for his family to enjoy the summer. They put it in park for the 4th of July. 3 days later, he was called out to this mess.
The tornado turns everything upside down. It's like that devastation you see on TV that you think that's never going to happen to you. And here it is, and there's campers turned up everywhere, and there's debris.
The park had only been up and running for one weekend when strong winds tore it apart.
Pretty heartbroken. Yeah, all the hard work and then have to start all over again was tough.
9 of 11 campers on site were demolished, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages.
It was pretty unbelievable. I mean, it was chaos.
Weeks later, and cleanup is still underway. Things are finally getting back to normal just as the summer is wrapping up.
We're here. We found a new, different camper, and after a couple week delay in there, and now we're back and doing what we had intended to start with in the beginning.
It wasn't enough to scare the Morys off or anybody else. Thanks to the help of the community, the park is ending the summer the way it started, and families are looking forward to the next. In Otter Tail County, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
The Lakeside RV Park is making the best of a bad situation. The owners say they plan on expanding when they rebuild. Across the border in Grant County, an Elbow Lake golf course is still trying to tally the damages from a tornado that ripped through it a couple of weeks ago. The 18-hole course was hit by one of 5 tornadoes that touched down all at once. We talked with the clubhouse manager. She says they are still waiting to hear back from the insurance, but they have 30 trees to replace. Despite the damage, the course was only shut down for a day. Let's take a look at the COVID-19 numbers. Minnesota is reporting 1,032 confirmed cases of COVID-19 today, along with 4 new deaths linked to the illness. More than 1,800 deaths have been attributed to the disease. In North Dakota, there are 375 new cases in the state, along with 2 new deaths. The death toll is at 141. The daily positivity rate is 4.75%. The activist group One Fargo hosted a March for Justice in downtown Fargo today at Island Park. This most recent march to City Hall was to show support for Jacob Blake, a Wisconsin man who was shot by police last weekend. Devin Fry brings us sights and sounds from the march.
Can't stop, won't stop, can't stop, won't stop.
Marchers gathered at Island Park this morning, coming together for a march to City Hall. Hundreds were present with many chanting and bringing signs, joining together for what they called a March for Justice and Equality.
Because after 5,000 people hit the streets in Fargo, we still seeing the same thing.
The protesters then made their way to City Hall, going down 7th Street and then taking 1st Avenue. They even stopped to chant at the ongoing Red River Market at one point. Police had to put out traffic warnings on social media as protesters were in the way of vehicles on Broadway and 2nd Avenue.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Once they arrived at the vacant City Hall, another message was sent from event organizers.
We have to do more. We have to speak up more.
Despite some verbal disagreements,
7 times in the back at point blank range. He was walking away from the police.
These protests did remain peaceful with no forms of violence reported. The majority of the protesters were wearing masks for the outdoor event. Reporting from Fargo, Devin Fry, Valley News Live.
The incident involving Jacob Blake in Wisconsin is currently under investigation. A tragic loss. Chadwick Boseman, one of Hollywood's brightest stars, is dead. The star, who played iconic black figures from Jackie Robinson and James Brown to starring in the Black Panther. News of his death was announced on social media, detailing his 4-year battle with colon cancer. His family released a statement late Friday. A true fighter, Chadwick persevered through it all and brought you many of the films you have come to love so much. Fans, friends, and family are remembering the real-life superhero who was fighting his own battle behind the scenes. Chadwick Boseman was 43 years old. North Dakota is receiving funding from the Federal Highway Administration's annual August redistribution, the state will receive more than $34 million. This funding is an additional amount from funds that were allocated but not used. The state DOT has received more than $107 million over the past 5 years from this annual redistribution. The money will go towards improving the state's roads and bridges. Later on Valley News Live at 6, people are picking up the pieces after a deadly Category 4 hurricane hit the southern coast.
And to look at our next weather maker shows this low pressure system near Edmonton, and there's a cold front, of course, extending off toward the south and west from there, and that cold front is just set to make its way through our neck of the woods tomorrow. I'll break down what this means for your Sunday plans next.